Well, hello. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. We're in Leviticus 18 and the do nots as far as sex. There's some do nots and we need to look at them. So we're going to do verses 16 through 23. Excuse me, Leviticus 18 verses 16 through 23. All right, verse 16, do not have sexual relations with your brother's wife. That would dishonor your brother. All right, so your sister-in-law, that's a no-no. Verse 17, do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. Do not have sexual relations with either her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. They are her close relatives. That is wickedness. Now, I want you to see something here. The ideal, the ideal is that you only have sex with somebody you're married to, okay? But God isn't quite that hard line, but there are some people you can't. It says, don't have sexual relations with a woman and her daughter. Now, he didn't really give you too hard a time about having it with a woman, even somebody you're not necessarily married to. Okay. It's best if you're married, but that's not that big a deal to God. All right. But you can't have her and her daughter or her granddaughter. All right. He said that is wickedness. You can't do that. All right. Verse 18, do not take your wife's sister. Okay, and this is a case where you are married, all right? Do not take your wife's sister as a rival wife and have sexual relations with her while your wife is living. All right. So if your wife dies, then it would be okay. That would be fine. But while she's alive, no. You just stay with your wife. Verse 19, do not approach a woman to have sexual relations during the uncleanness of her monthly period. That's kind of gross anyway. All right, but God said don't have sex while she's having her period. All right, verse 20, do not have sexual relations with your neighbor's wife and defile yourself with her. All right, that's adultery. Okay, when you're with anybody else's wife, that's adultery. All right, and most of this is written to the men. Okay, but just do the flip and you can see what it is for the women. Okay. Verse 21, do not give any of your children to be sacrificed to Molech, for you must not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Okay, now this was idolatry, but they would actually sacrifice children. They would kill children to worship this false god Molech. All right. Look at verse 22. This one's very important, and this relates to the age we're in. Okay, Leviticus 18, verse 22. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. All right, now sometimes people will say, well, where in the Bible does it say homosexuality is wrong? Right here. Here's one place, Leviticus 18:22, this very text we're reading today. So God's really clear on that. It says a man can't have sex with a man. It goes against God. That's what it says right here, Leviticus 18, verse 22. It also says in other places, we're not there right now, that a woman can't do that either with a woman. All right. So the society says it's okay and we celebrate it. God says no. It's detestable. So society's not always right. Verse 23, and this will be our last verse we read. Now, I know you're going to be really glad this verse is in here because I know how much you love animals. Verse 23, do not have sexual relations with an animal and defile yourself with it. A woman must not present herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. That is a perversion. All right. And you might think gross, but there's some people that like doing that stuff. And, out on the farm, people, want to do things with cows and sheep and things like that. And God says no. It's absolutely wrong. You can't do it. It's a perversion. I know you don't ever think about anything like that kind of stuff. All right. So you see, the best thing and the way to prevent all of this stuff is just get married and just stick with the one you're married to. That's really what God wants. All right. But if you're not married, you certainly have to follow all these other laws and do what God says. All right, we'll be in verse 24 tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to see why God was so serious about these particular sins, okay? But you got to come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.